Martin Luther King Jr., I Have a Dream, bedtime story in recent times. Law enforcement actions carried out by U.S. ICE have led to the tragic passing of an American woman. Such sorrowful occurrences gently reveal the long-standing racial divides and unfair social issues that have long existed within American society. Looking back to those difficult years filled with prejudice and unequal treatment, numerous people devoted themselves to striving for equal rights and genuine freedom. Among all those brave advocates, Martin Luther King Jr. stood out as an extraordinary leader who dedicated his life to defending justice and safeguarding the dignity of every ordinary person. When the moon hangs low in the velvet sky, like a soft lantern glowing through the window, and the world outside has settled into a hush, no harsh noises, no hurried footsteps, only the gentle rustle of leaves and the steady, soothing rhythm of your own breath. Tonight, we will weave a story stitched with hope, braided with courage, and glowing with a dream that reshaped the world. Close your eyes, my beloved, let your body soften, let your mind drift, and let us journey back in time, to a moment when a single voice rose above the darkness, carrying a dream that would echo through the ages like a lullaby of justice. That I am right here with you, my dear. You are safe, wrapped in warmth, and as we tell this story, let the gentle words cradle you like a soft blanket. Remember, this is a story of love, not hate, of hope, not despair, of freedom, a precious gift we must hold close, always. Breathe in slowly, breathe out softly, and let us begin. Close your eyes, my darling, and let us journey back to a time long ago, not so distant that it feels like a fairy tale, but far enough that the world wore a different face. It was the 1950s and 1960s in America, a time when the country bloomed with promise. New houses sprouted on the edges of cities, families grew, and the air hummed with the anticipation of prosperity. But for millions, that promise was a distant star, bright, but just out of reach. The sun still rose each morning, painting the sky in soft hues of pink and gold, and the birds still sang their gentle melodies. But for many, the sun's warmth never reached their hearts, and the birds' songs were drowned out by the weight of injustice. Breathe in slowly, my dear, and imagine this world, soft, quiet, but with a quiet sadness lingering in the air, like a faint mist clinging to the morning grass. Imagine the air, my dear. It carries the warm, sweet scent of freshly baked bread from the corner bakery, drifting through open windows like a loving hug. It holds the crisp, earthy aroma of pine trees in the parks, their needles releasing a soft fragrance when the wind whispers through their branches. It carries the clean, refreshing scent of rain on dusty roads, washing away the day's worries, and the delicate perfume of jasmine blooming in the yards of small houses, their white petals glowing like tiny stars in the soft sunlight. The sounds around you are gentle, the clip-clop of a horse-drawn carriage on a quiet street, its hooves tapping softly on the pavement like a slow, steady lullaby, the laughter of children playing jump rope, their voices light and carefree, echoing through the neighborhood like wind chimes, the hum of a radio playing jazz from a neighbor's window, its notes smooth and mellow, blending with the rustle of leaves, and the distant chime of a church bell calling people to prayer, its sound deep and resonant, gently tugging at the heartstrings. There are no harsh noises here, my dear, only soft, gentle sounds that lull you into calm, that wrap you in safety and peace. Look around, my beloved. The houses are small, with porches where people sit and rock in wooden chairs on warm evenings, their bodies swaying slowly back and forth like leaves dancing in a breeze. The porches are adorned with potted flowers, roses, daisies, and geraniums, their colors bright yet soft, adding a touch of warmth to the quiet streets. The streets are lined with oak trees, their branches stretching high like outstretched arms, casting dappled shadows on the sidewalks, tiny patches of shade where you can sit and rest. Men wear suits and hats, their steps slow and deliberate, as they walk to work or visit friends. Women wear dresses and aprons, their hands busy with baking or gardening, their faces soft with a gentle smile. Children run barefoot in the grass, their hair blowing in the wind, their feet tickling the cool earth as they chase each other, their laughter filling the air like sunshine. There are no cars honking loudly, no phones beeping, no screens glowing, just the quiet rhythm of daily life, slow and steady, like the beating of a heart. This is the world of the 1950s, my dear, a world of simple joys, of quiet moments, but also a world divided, a world where not everyone could taste those simple joys. But there was something else in the air, my dear, a quiet sadness, a heavy weight that hung over many hearts like a dark cloud that refused to lift. Because in this time, not everyone was free to laugh, to play, to live as they chose. Signs were everywhere, emblazoned with white only, on restaurant doors, water fountains, buses, parks, signs born from laws called Jim Crow laws. These laws, crafted long after the Civil War ended slavery, were meant to keep black people and white people separate. Some believe that those with different skin colors should not live together, eat together, or even drink from the same fountain. These signs split the world into two: those who could go anywhere, do anything, and those who were told where to sit, where to eat, where to drink, where to live. Even children, like you, my dear, were not spared from this separation. Black children and white children could not attend the same schools, play in the same parks, or even share a toy without being told it was wrong. Imagine, my beloved, walking to a park with your best friend, only to be turned away because of the color of your skin. Imagine staring at a water fountain on a hot day, thirsty and tired, only to see a sign that says you cannot drink from it, simply because of who you are. This was the reality for millions, my dear, a reality of separation, of injustice, of a world that was not fair. But remember, my love, even in the darkest moments, there is always hope, a tiny light in the darkness, guiding us forward. I am right here with you, and we will walk through this story together, hand in hand, knowing that hope is never far away. I want you to meet a little girl named Lila, my dear. She is 7 years old, with curly black hair that bounces like spring blossoms when she walks, and bright brown eyes that shine like warm amber when she smiles. Lila lives in Montgomery, Alabama, in a small house with peeling paint and a tiny yard, where she grows sunflowers alongside her baby brother, tall, golden blooms that reach toward the sun, just like her hopes. Her father works as a carpenter, building houses for white families, but he is not allowed to enter the homes he builds through the front door. He must slip through the back, like a servant, even though his hands are the ones that hammer the walls, lay the floors, and build the roofs that keep those families safe. Her mother works as a seamstress, stitching beautiful dresses for white children, dresses with frills and lace and buttons that sparkle like stars, but she is not allowed to try on the clothes she makes, even to ensure they fit, even though her fingers are the ones that stitch every seam, fold every hem. Every evening, Lila sits on the porch with her father, listening to him tell stories of a different world, a world where he can walk through the front door of the houses he builds, a world where Lila can be free to be herself. Her father's voice is soft, his eyes tired but glowing with hope, and Lila wraps her small hand around his, feeling the calluses on his palms from years of hammering nails, and whispers, "Daddy, will that day ever come?" He pulls her close, his voice warm and gentle, and says, "Yes, my sweet Lila. That day will come. We just have to be patient, and we have to keep believing." Every morning, Lila walks to school with her friends, Mia, with braids that cascade down her shoulders like dark waterfalls, and Jamal, with a big smile that lights up his face like the sun. But their school is nothing like the white children's school. The white children attend a school with bright, clean classrooms, walls painted in soft pastels, new books with shiny covers that glint in the light, and a playground with swings that soar high into the sky, slides that twist and turn like rivers, and a sandbox where they can build castles and dig holes to their heart's content. Lila's school is a small, old building with cracked walls, paint peeling off in large, flaky chunks, tattered books with yellowed, worn pages that crinkle when touched, and a dirt yard with no swings, no slides, only a few sticks and stones for the children to play with. The windows are broken, and in the winter, the cold wind howls through the gaps, turning the classroom into an icebox. The desks are old and rickety, their legs wobbly, and the chalkboard is smudged and faded, hard to read even in the light. Why can't we go to the white school? Lila asks her mother one night, as her mother tucks her into bed, pulling the thin blanket up to her chin. Her mother sighs, a soft, tired sigh, like the wind through dry leaves, and brushes Lila's curly hair away from her face, her fingers gentle and warm. "Because the world is not fair yet, my sweet," she says, her voice quiet with sadness. "But one day, it will be. One day, you and your friends will be able to go to any school you want, to learn anything you want, to dream any dream you want. I promise." Lila closes her eyes, her heart heavy but hopeful, and whispers, "I hope that day comes soon, Mommy." Her mother kisses her forehead, soft and sweet, like a petal falling, and says, "So do I, my love. So do I." One afternoon, Lila and her mother wait for the bus to go to the grocery store, for bread and milk and apples to sustain them through the week. The sun shines bright, but a cool breeze dances through the air, and Lila wraps her arms around her mother's leg, seeking warmth. The bus arrives, its engine sputtering like a tired bird, and they climb on, their shoes tapping softly on the metal steps. But the driver, a man with a gruff voice and a stern face, tells them to go to the back. "The front seats are for white people," he says, his voice cold as ice. Lila's mother holds her hand tightly, her fingers squeezing gently like a silent promise, and they walk to the back of the bus, where the seats are hard and dirty, the fabric worn thin from years of use, the upholstery frayed at the edges. The windows are foggy, and Lila can barely see the world outside, as if looking through a veil. A white woman boards a few stops later, wearing a fur coat and a hat, her shoes clicking loudly on the floor like tiny drums. There are no seats left in the front, and the driver turns around, his eyes sharp as shards of glass, and tells Lila and her mother to stand, so the white woman can sit. We paid the same fare as everyone else, Lila's mother says quietly, her voice steady but full of sadness, like a song with a broken note. But the driver shakes his head, his face unyielding as stone. Rules are rules, he says. Lila feels a tear roll down her cheek, warm and wet, as she stands, holding her mother's hand tightly, watching the white woman sit in their seat, her eyes staring straight ahead, as if Lila and her mother were not even there. In that moment, Lila feels small, and sad, and angry, but she also feels a spark, a tiny flame deep inside her, telling her that things will not always be this way. I am right here with you, Lila, my dear. I am right here, and that spark of hope will never be extinguished. This was the world, my dear, a world where skin color dictated everything. A world where black people were not allowed to sit beside white people on buses, not allowed to eat in the same restaurants, not allowed to drink from the same water fountains, not allowed to vote, not allowed to dream of a better life. It was a world of injustice, a world of separation, a world where hope felt like a fragile butterfly, easily crushed. Imagine going to a restaurant with your family, hungry and tired, only to be turned away because of the color of your skin. Imagine wanting to vote, to have a say in how your country is run, only to be told you are not allowed, simply because of who you are. Imagine working hard every day, doing the same job as someone else, but being paid less, being treated worse, because of the color of your skin. This was the world that millions of black people lived in, my dear, a world where they were judged not by the content of their character, but by the color of their skin. But even in this world, there were people who refused to let hope die, people who refused to accept that things would never change. These people were brave, they were kind, they were full of love, and they would change the world forever. Breathe in slowly, my dear, and let their courage wrap around you, like a warm blanket on a cold night. But there were people who refused to let hope die, my dear. People who believed that all people were created equal, that skin color should not divide us, that freedom was a gift meant for every soul. One of those people was a man named Martin Luther King Jr. He was a young man, a preacher, with a soft voice that could calm even the angriest heart, and a big heart that overflowed with love and compassion. He believed in nonviolence, in fighting for justice not with fists, not with anger, not with hatred, but with love, with words, with courage. He believed that love was the most powerful force in the world, a force that could heal wounds, break down barriers, change hearts. Martin was not a perfect man, my dear. He was human, just like you and me, but he was a man with a dream that would inspire millions, a dream that would change the course of history. He stood tall, even when the world tried to knock him down, and he spoke with a gentle strength that made people listen, that made people believe, that made people hope. I want you to remember his name, my dear, Martin Luther King Jr., because his dream is still alive today, in you, in me, in everyone who believes in equality, in love, in freedom. Let me tell you about Martin, my beloved. He was born in 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, in a small house not far from the church where his father was a preacher. The house was warm and cozy, with a porch where Martin would sit and read for hours, lost in the pages of books, and a yard where he would play with his siblings, their laughter echoing through the trees. As a little boy, Martin was just like you. Curious, kind, full of dreams. He loved to read, to lose himself in stories of courage and hope, of people who fought for what was right. He loved to listen to his father's sermons, to hear his father talk about love, about justice, about treating others with kindness. He loved to play with his friends, running through the yards, climbing trees, sharing toys, laughing until his sides hurt. But when he was 6 years old, something happened that changed his life forever. Something that planted a seed in his heart, a seed of hope, a seed of courage, a seed that would grow into a dream that would change the world. That day, Martin learned that the world was not as kind as he thought, that there were people who judged others by the color of their skin, not by who they were on the inside. But even that painful moment could not dim his light, could not break his spirit. It only made him more determined to make a difference, to create a world where no child would ever have to feel the pain he felt that day. Martin had a best friend, a white boy named Johnny, who lived next door. They were inseparable, two little boys who loved to play together, who shared everything, their toys, their snacks, their secrets. They would run through the yards, chasing fireflies on warm summer nights, their jars glowing like tiny lanterns. They would build forts out of sticks and leaves, pretending they were explorers sailing the high seas, fighting dragons. They would climb the big oak tree in Martin's yard, their laughter ringing out as they reached for the sky. They would laugh together, cry together, dream together. Johnny would come to Martin's house for dinner, and Martin would go to Johnny's house for birthday parties. They did not see the color of each other's skin. They saw a friend, a playmate, someone who made them happy. But one day, Johnny's mother told him he could not play with Martin anymore. She called Martin over to her house, her face stern, her voice cold as a winter wind, and said, "He is black, and you are white. You cannot play with him. It is not right." Martin's heart broke, my dear, like a glass dropped on stone. He felt as if someone had punched him in the chest, as if all the joy had been drained from the world. He went home crying, his shoulders shaking, his eyes red and puffy, asking his parents why his best friend could not play with him, why the color of his skin made a difference. His mother held him close, her arms wrapping around him like a warm blanket, and said, "Martin, you are just as good as anyone else. The color of your skin does not make you less than. It does not make you different. One day, the world will see that. One day, people will not judge you by the color of your skin, but by the content of your character. I promise." His father knelt down in front of him, his hands on Martin's shoulders, his eyes full of love and determination, and said, "Son, this is wrong. This is injustice. And it is our job to fight it. We will fight it. With love, with courage, with hope. We will not give up, not ever." That day, Martin made a promise to himself. He would spend his life fighting for justice, fighting for equality, fighting for a world where no child would ever have to lose their best friend because of the color of their skin. That promise would guide him for the rest of his life, would be the foundation of his dream, would be the light that led him through the darkest days. Remember, my dear, Martin did not believe in anger. He did not believe in violence. He believed that love was the most powerful force in the world. He said, Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. These words became his guiding light, a beacon that led millions of people out of the darkness of injustice. He believed that nonviolence was not weakness, but strength, that it took more courage to stand up for what was right without fighting back than it did to lash out in anger. He believed that every person, no matter their skin color, their gender, their religion, their background, deserved to be treated with dignity and respect. He believed that we are all brothers and sisters, all part of the same human family, and that we should love one another, support one another, stand together. Martin lived these words every day, my dear. He treated everyone with kindness, even those who hated him, even those who threatened him, even those who tried to hurt him. He loved his enemies, not because he agreed with them, not because he forgave their cruelty, but because he believed that love was the only way to heal the world. This was his strength, my dear, his ability to love even when it was hard, to hope even when it seemed impossible, to fight even when the odds were against him. And this strength would carry him through the hardest days of his life, would carry the civil rights movement forward, would change the world forever. Let us go back to Montgomery, Alabama, in 1955. That year, a brave woman named Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man. She was tired, not just from a long day of work as a seamstress, her hands sore from sewing, her feet aching from standing for hours, but tired of being told where to sit, tired of being treated like she was less than human, tired of the injustice that surrounded her every day. For years, black people in Montgomery had endured the unfair bus rules. They had to sit in the back, in the hardest, dirtiest seats. They had to give up their seats to white people, even if they had paid the same fare. They had to enter the bus through the back door, even if the front door was closer. They had endured this quietly, this injustice, this humiliation, for years. But on that cold December day, Rosa Parks had had enough. When the driver told her to stand up, to give her seat to a white man who had just boarded the bus, she said, "No, just one word." But it was a word that would change history. It was a word of courage, a word of defiance, a word of hope. She was arrested, taken to the police station, her hands cuffed, but her spirit unbroken. She was fined, but she did not regret what she had done. She knew that her small act of courage could spark a movement, could be the beginning of change. And she was right. Her courage ignited a quiet, determined movement that rippled across the country, like a stone thrown into a calm lake, creating waves that reached every corner of America. Black people in Montgomery decided to boycott the buses. They refused to ride them, walking to work, to school, to the grocery store, even in the rain, even in the cold, even when their feet were sore and their bodies were tired. They walked together, hand in hand, supporting one another, encouraging one another, believing that their actions would make a difference. The boycott was organized by a group of black leaders who chose Martin Luther King Jr. to be their voice, because they loved his gentle strength and his belief in nonviolence. They knew that anger would not help, only love and patience would. They knew that Martin was the right person to lead them, to guide them, to give them hope. Martin Luther King Jr. was chosen to lead this boycott. He stood up in front of thousands of people at the Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church, his voice calm and strong, like a gentle storm, filling the church, touching the hearts of everyone who was there. He said, "We are not here to hate. We are not here to retaliate. We are here to demand justice. We are here to say that we are tired of being treated like second-class citizens. We are here to say that we deserve to be free, to be treated with dignity, to be treated as equals. We will not stop until we are free." His words were soft but powerful, gentle but firm, and they filled the people with hope, with courage, with determination. The boycott lasted for 381 days. My dear, 381 long days of walking, of struggling, of hoping. 381 days of waking up early, of walking miles to work, of braving the rain and the cold and the heat. 381 days of being threatened, of being harassed, of being told that they would never win. But the people did not give up. They kept walking, they kept believing, they kept supporting one another. The bus company lost so much money because so few people were riding their buses, and the leaders of Montgomery began to worry. They knew that the boycott was working, that the people were not going to back down. During those days, Martin received many threats. People called his house late at night, saying cruel things, threatening to hurt him and his family. Some even tried to bomb his house, to scare him into giving up. But he never gave up. He prayed every night, asking for strength to keep going, asking for guidance, asking for peace. He told the people to keep believing, to keep loving, to keep fighting with nonviolence. And in the end, they won. On December 20th, 1956, the Supreme Court ruled that segregation on buses was illegal. It was a small victory, but it was a victory, a sign that change was possible, that a single act of courage could spark a revolution of hope. The people of Montgomery celebrated quietly, hugging each other, tears of joy in their eyes, their hearts full of hope. They knew that this was just the first step, but it was a step in the right direction. They knew that Martin's dream was beginning to take shape, that their hard work, their courage, their love, had paid off. I am right here with you, my dear, and I am so proud of them, proud of their courage, proud of their hope, proud of their love. And I am proud of you, for listening, for caring, for keeping their dream alive. I want you to meet another person, my dear. His name is Thomas, and he is a 12-year-old boy who lives in Birmingham, Alabama. Thomas has a sharp mind and a kind heart, and he loves to read, loves to lose himself in stories of adventure, of courage, of hope. He loves to learn, to discover new things, to ask questions and find answers. But he is not allowed to go to the public library, because it is white only. The public library is a beautiful building, with large windows that let in the sunlight, casting warm glow over shelves and shelves of books, with comfortable chairs where you can sit and read for hours, lost in other worlds. Every day after school, Thomas walks past the library, his steps slowing, his eyes fixed on the windows, looking in at the shelves full of books. Wishing he could go inside, wishing he could run his fingers over the spines of the books, wishing he could pick up any book he wanted and read it, without fear, without shame, without being told he was not allowed. He sees white children going in and out of the library, laughing, carrying books, their faces full of joy, and his heart aches. He wishes he could be like them, wishes he could have that freedom, that joy. His father tells him, "Someday, Thomas, you will be able to go into that library. Someday, you will be free to learn, free to dream, free to be yourself. We just have to keep believing, just have to keep fighting. Thomas nods, his eyes full of hope, and says, I will keep believing, Daddy. I will keep fighting. And he does. He reads every book he can get his hands on, books that his friends lend him, books that his teacher gives him, books that he finds in old boxes in the attic. He reads late at night, by the light of a small lamp, his eyes tired but his heart full of hope. He knows that knowledge is power, that education is the key to freedom, and he is determined to learn as much as he can, to prepare himself for the day when he can go into that library, when he can be free. Thomas hears about Martin Luther King Jr. He hears about the boycott in Montgomery, about how the people stood together, about how they won, about how Martin's words of love and hope had inspired them. He hears about Martin's dream, about a world where all people are equal, where skin, color does not matter, where he can go to the public library and read any book he wants. And he feels a spark of hope, a spark that grows brighter and brighter with each passing day. He starts to attend the meetings that Martin holds, sitting in the back of the church, his eyes wide, his ears open, drinking in Martin's words. I have a dream, Martin says, that one day, my 4 little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but by the content of their character. Thomas listens, and he dreams too. He dreams of a day when he can walk into the public library, pick up any book he wants, and read it without fear. He dreams of a day when he can go to school with white children, play with them, learn with them, be their friend. He dreams of a day when his skin color does not matter, when he is judged by who he is on the inside, by his kindness, by his intelligence, by his courage. He writes down his dreams in a notebook, his handwriting neat and careful, and he reads them every night before he goes to sleep, to remind himself that hope is never far away. He knows that Martin's dream is his dream too, that they are all fighting for the same thing, freedom, equality, love. And he is determined to be part of that fight, to do his part to make Martin's dream come true. As the years go by, Martin's message spreads like wildfire. More and more people join the movement, black people and white people, young and old, men and women, rich and poor. They come from all walks of life, united by a common dream, united by a common purpose, to fight for justice, to fight for equality, to fight for freedom. They march together, their feet stepping in unison, their voices singing together, their hearts beating as one. They sing songs of hope, songs of courage, songs of freedom, songs like We Shall Overcome, a song that becomes the anthem of the civil rights movement, a song that fills their hearts with strength, a song that reminds them that they are not alone. They pray together, bowing their heads, asking for guidance, asking for peace, asking for the strength to keep going. They demand justice, they demand equality, they demand freedom, and they refuse to back down. But they are met with anger, with hatred, with violence. Police use water hoses on them, powerful streams of water that knock them to the ground, soak their clothes, leave them shivering and cold. They set dogs on them, dogs that bark and snarl, that bite and scratch, that fill the air with fear. They arrest them, put them in jail, lock them away, trying to silence them, trying to break their spirit. But they do not fight back. They stand tall, with love in their hearts, with hope in their eyes, with courage in their souls. because they know that their cause is just, because they know that love is stronger than hate, because they know that change is possible. They take the abuse, they take the violence, they take the hatred, and they turn it into strength, into hope, into determination. They know that every time they are arrested, every time they are hurt, every time they are threatened, they are one small, gentle step closer to freedom, one small, gentle step closer to Martin's dream. Breathe in slowly, my dear, and let their courage inspire you. Let it remind you that even when things are hard, even when the odds are against you, you can keep going, you can keep believing, you can make a difference. Remember, my dear, change is not easy. It takes time, it takes courage, it takes patience. There were many setbacks, many hard days, many moments when it seemed like all hope was lost. There were people who tried to stop them, people who wanted things to stay the same, people who hated them for fighting for what was right. There were days when the violence was too much, when the hatred was too strong, when the struggle felt too hard. But Martin and his followers did not give up. They kept going, because they believed in their dream. They believed that one day, the world would be a better place. They believed that one day, all people would be treated equally, that skin color would not matter, that love would be stronger than hate. They believed that their hard work, their courage, their love, would not be in vain. They knew that change would not happen overnight, that it would take years, even decades, but they were willing to keep fighting, willing to keep hoping, willing to keep loving. They knew that every small step, every small victory, every small act of courage, would bring them closer to their dream. And they were right. Every time a black person sat in the front of a bus, every time a black child went to a white school, every time a black person voted, every time a black person was treated with dignity and respect, they were one step closer to Martin's dream. Every time a white person joined the movement, every time a white person stood up for justice, every time a white person treated a black person as an equal, they were one step closer to Martin's dream. This is the power of hope, my dear, the power to keep going, even when things are hard, the power to believe, even when it seems impossible, the power to love, even when it is hard to love. Let me tell you a story within our story, my beloved. A story about a woman named Mary, who is a teacher in a small town in Mississippi. Mary has a kind heart and a passion for teaching, and she loves her students more than anything. She teaches black children in a small, old school with no electricity, no running water, no books. The school is a dilapidated building, with cracked walls, a leaky roof that drips when it rains, and windows that are broken or missing, letting in the wind and the cold. The classrooms are dark and cold, even on warm days, and the desks are old and rickety, with broken legs and chipped paint, their surfaces scarred from years of use. Mary works long hours, from early in the morning until late at night, for very little money, but she does not care. She loves her students, and she wants them to have a better life, to have the chance to go to college, to pursue their dreams, to be anything they want to be. She wants them to know that they are worthy, that they are capable, that they can change the world. But the white school in town has everything: new books with shiny covers, electricity that lights up the classrooms like day, running water that keeps them cool on hot days, and teachers who are paid well, who have all the resources they need to teach. Mary looks at the white school, with its bright classrooms and happy students, and her heart aches. She wishes her students could have that, wishes they could have the same opportunities, the same chances, the same freedom to dream. But she does not give up. She works tirelessly, using whatever resources she can find: old books, handwritten notes, drawings on the chalkboard, to teach her students. She encourages them, she supports them, she believes in them, even when no one else does. She tells them, "You are smart, you are brave, you are capable of anything. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. Do not let anyone dim your light. Keep dreaming, keep learning, keep fighting, and one day, you will be free." One day, Mary hears that Martin Luther King Jr. is coming to her town. She is excited, she is hopeful, and she makes sure to be there, standing in the front row, her eyes fixed on Martin, her heart full of anticipation. She listens to him speak, and his words fill her with hope, with courage, with determination. "I have a dream," Martin says, "that one day, every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together." Mary listens, and she feels a fire in her heart, a fire that tells her she cannot give up, that she must do more, that she must fight for her students, for their dreams, for their freedom. She decides to take action. She starts a petition, asking the town to give her school the same resources as the white school: new books, electricity, running water, better desks, better teachers. She goes door to door, collecting signatures from parents, from students, from anyone who believes in justice, from anyone who believes that all children deserve a good education, regardless of the color of their skin. She works day and night, her hands tired, her feet sore, but her spirit unbroken. She knows that this will not be easy, that the town leaders will ignore her, that they will laugh at her, that they will tell her she is wasting her time. But she does not care. She is fighting for her students, for their future, and she will not give up. At first, nothing changes. The town leaders ignore her petition, they laugh at her, they tell her she is wasting her time, that black children do not deserve the same resources as white children. They tell her that she is being foolish, that she should just accept things the way they are. But Mary does not give up. She keeps collecting signatures, she keeps speaking up, she keeps fighting. She goes to town meetings, standing up in front of the leaders, speaking passionately about her students, about their dreams, about the injustice they face. She tells them, "These children are our future. They deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. They deserve a good education. They deserve the same opportunities as white children. You cannot keep them down forever. You cannot keep them from dreaming. Change is coming, whether you like it or not, and I will be here, fighting for these children, until change comes." One day, Martin comes back to her town, and he meets with Mary. He hears her story, he sees her courage, he feels her passion, and he is inspired. He tells her, "Your courage is an inspiration, Mary. Never stop fighting for what is right. Never stop believing in your dream. Never stop fighting for these children. They need you, and the world needs you. Your work is not in vain. Every signature you collect, every word you speak, Every act of courage you show is bringing us closer to the dream. Keep going, and you will see change. I promise. With Martin's encouragement, Mary keeps going. And slowly, things start to change. The town gives the school new books, not as many as the white school, but enough to let the children read and learn. They install electricity, so the classrooms are bright and warm. They install running water, so the children can drink and wash their hands. They raise Mary's salary, not to the same level as the white teachers, but enough to let her live comfortably. It is not much, but it is a start. Mary's students are overjoyed. They can now read new books, they can learn in a warm, bright classroom, they can dream of a better future. They hug Mary, their small arms wrapping around her, their faces full of joy, and they say, "Thank you, Miss Mary. Thank you for fighting for us." Mary cries, tears of joy streaming down her face, and she says, "You are welcome, my sweet children. I will always fight for you. I will always believe in you." This is the power of one person, my dear. One person with courage, one person with hope, one person with love, can make a difference. One person can change the lives of many, can bring hope to the hopeless, can make the world a better place. And Mary is that person, another story within our story, my dear. A story about a young man named James, who is a musician. James has a beautiful voice, a voice that is soft and soulful, a voice that can make people cry, that can make people smile, that can make people feel hope deep in their hearts. He plays the guitar, his fingers moving gently over the strings, creating music that is full of emotion, full of love, full of hope. He loves to sing, to share his music with others, to use his music to tell stories, to inspire people, to bring them together. But he is not allowed to play in white clubs, not allowed to sing on white radio stations, not allowed to share his music with the world. He can only play in small, black clubs, for small crowds, in dark, smoky rooms, where the air is thick with the smell of cigarette smoke and alcohol. But he does not let that stop him. He plays every night, pouring his heart and soul into his music, singing songs of freedom, songs of hope, songs of equality. His music becomes popular among the people in the civil rights movement. They come to the clubs to hear him sing, to be inspired by his voice, to find strength in his music. He sings at marches, at rallies, at meetings, and his music gives people strength. It gives them the courage to keep going, the hope to keep believing, the love to keep fighting. "We shall overcome," he sings, his voice strong and soulful. "We shall overcome, someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe, we shall overcome someday." These words become an anthem for the movement, a song of hope that unites people, that gives them the courage to keep going, that reminds them that they are not alone. James sings this song everywhere he goes, and the crowd sings along with him, their voices joining together, becoming one, a powerful force that cannot be silenced. He knows that his music is a gift that he can use to make a difference, a gift that he can use to bring people together, a gift that he can use to keep Martin's dream alive. James hears about Martin Luther King Jr., and he is inspired. He hears Martin's words, his message of love and hope, and he knows that he wants to use his music to support the movement, to spread Martin's message, to inspire people to fight for justice. He starts to write songs about freedom, about hope, about equality, songs that tell the stories of the people in the movement, songs that capture their struggles, their courage, their hope. His songs are raw and honest, full of emotion, and they touch the hearts of everyone who hears them. He sings about Lila, about Thomas, about Mary, about all the ordinary people who are fighting for a better world. He sings about their struggles, their pain, their hope, their courage. And people listen. They are inspired by his music, by his words, by his passion. They start to see that they are not alone, that there are millions of people fighting alongside them, that Martin's dream is their dream too. James's music becomes a bridge between people, a bridge between black and white, a bridge between hope and despair. It brings people together, unites them, reminds them that they are all part of the same human family, that they all deserve to be free, to be equal, to be loved. He knows that his music is more than just songs. It is a weapon of love, a weapon of hope, a weapon that can break down barriers, that can change hearts, that can change the world. One day, James is invited to sing at a rally in Washington, D.C. His music had traveled far and wide, catching the attention of the civil rights movement leaders. He is nervous, his hands shaking, his heart racing, but he is also excited. This is his chance to share his music with a larger audience, his chance to inspire more people, his chance to be part of something bigger than himself. He travels to Washington, D.C., his guitar in hand, his heart full of hope. He stands on the stage, looking out at the crowd, thousands of people, black and white, young and old, standing together, united by a common dream. He takes a deep breath, closes his eyes, and starts to sing. His voice is strong, his heart is full, and the crowd sings along with him, their voices joining together, filling the air with hope, with love, with courage. He sings, "We shall overcome," and the crowd sings along, their voices loud and proud, echoing through the streets of Washington, D.C. He sings other songs too, songs about freedom, about hope, about equality, songs that he has written with his heart and soul. After he sings, Martin Luther King Jr. comes up to him and shakes his hand. Martin's hand is warm and strong, and his smile is gentle and kind. "Your music is a gift, James," Martin says, his voice soft but powerful. "It gives people hope, it unites them, it reminds them of why we are fighting. Thank you. Thank you for using your gift to make a difference, to keep the dream alive." James smiles, tears of joy in his eyes, and he says, "Thank you, Dr. King. It is an honor to be here, to be part of this movement, to be part of your dream. I will keep singing, I will keep fighting, I will keep spreading hope, for as long as I live." James knows that his dream is coming true. He knows that one day, he will be able to sing for everyone, regardless of the color of their skin, that one day, his music will be heard by the world, that one day, his music will help to change the world. And he is right. Years later, James becomes a famous singer, singing for crowds all over the world, spreading Martin's message of love and hope, using his music to inspire people to fight for justice, to fight for equality, to fight for freedom. His music lives on, a testament to the power of hope, the power of love, the power of one person to make a difference. Now, my dear, let us go to August 28, 1963. This is the day that changed everything. This is the day of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, a day when hundreds of thousands of people, black and white, young and old, men and women, rich and poor, gathered in Washington, D.C., in front of the Lincoln Memorial, to stand together, to demand justice, to demand equality, to demand freedom. The air was thick with hope, with excitement, with the sound of people singing, praying, talking, laughing. The sun shone brightly, the sky a clear, bright blue, and a gentle wind blew through the crowd, carrying the scent of hope, carrying the sound of freedom. People came from all over the country, walking, taking buses, taking trains, driving cars, to be part of this historic moment. They came from small towns and big cities, from the north and the south, from all walks of life, united by a common dream, united by a common purpose, to fight for justice, to fight for equality, to fight for freedom. They carried signs that said, "I have a dream, equal rights for all, freedom now." And they chanted slogans of hope, of courage, of freedom. They sang songs of hope, songs of courage, songs of freedom, songs like, "We shall overcome, this little light of mine, glory, glory, hallelujah." The crowd was huge, larger than anyone had ever seen, a sea of people, all standing together, all believing in the same dream, all fighting for the same thing. It was a moment of unity, a moment of hope, a moment that would change the course of history. Breathe in slowly, my dear, and imagine this moment. Thousands of people, standing together, hand in hand, singing, chanting, hoping, believing. Imagine the feeling of unity, of hope, of courage, filling the air, filling your heart. This is the power of people coming together, the power of hope, the power of love. Martin Luther King Jr. stood on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, looking out at the crowd. He was wearing a dark suit, a white shirt, and a tie, his hair neatly combed, his face calm and serene, his eyes full of hope, full of love, full of determination. He held a piece of paper in his hand, a piece of paper with his speech written on it, but as he started to speak, he put the paper down. He spoke from his heart, his voice ringing out clear and strong, filling the air, touching the hearts of everyone in the crowd, touching the hearts of people all over the world. His voice was soft but powerful, gentle but firm, and it carried the weight of years of struggle, of years of hope, of years of love. He looked out at the crowd, at the faces of the people, old and young, black and white, men and women, and he saw their hope, their courage, their pain, their determination. He saw Lila, now a little older, standing with her parents, her eyes wide, her heart full of hope. He saw Thomas, standing with his father, his notebook in hand, ready to write down every word. He saw Mary, standing with her students, her face full of pride, her heart full of hope. He saw James, standing on the stage, his guitar in hand, ready to sing, ready to inspire. And he knew that this was the moment when his dream would be shared with the world, the moment when change would begin, the moment when hope would shine brighter than ever before. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes for a moment, and then he began to speak, his voice filling the air, a voice that would echo through history, a voice that would inspire millions of people, a voice that would change the world. I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation," he said. These were his first words, words that would be remembered for generations, words that would set the tone for the entire speech, words that would fill the crowd with hope, with courage, with determination. He spoke of the Emancipation Proclamation, signed 100 years earlier by President Abraham Lincoln, a document that promised freedom to millions of slaves, a document that was supposed to be the end of injustice, the end of slavery, the beginning of a new era of equality. But he said, 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself an exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. His words were honest, they were painful, they were true, and they touched the hearts of everyone in the crowd. They reminded people of the injustice that still existed, of the pain that millions of black people still felt, of the dream that was still unfulfilled. But they also reminded people that they were not there to wallow in sadness, not there to give up, but there to fight, to demand justice, to demand freedom, to make the dream a reality. Breathe in slowly, my dear, and let these words sink in. Let them remind you of the importance of fighting for what is right, of the importance of hope, of the importance of love. I want you to listen closely to these words, my dear. Martin said, in a sense we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note, insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. He paused, his eyes scanning the crowd, his voice soft but powerful, and then he continued, but we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. And so, we've come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. These words filled the crowd with hope, with courage, with determination. They knew that they were not asking for something they did not deserve. They were asking for what was rightfully theirs, what was promised to them by the founding fathers of their country. They knew that the time for change was now, that there was no time to wait, no time to be patient, no time to give up. They knew that they had to fight, that they had to demand justice, that they had to make the dream a reality, but Martin did not stop there, my beloved. He said, it would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. And those who hoped that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. And there will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. His voice rose, soft but unwavering, wrapping around the crowd like a warm embrace, and then he spoke the words that would echo through time, the words of his dream. I have a dream, he said, his voice clear and full of hope, that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but by the content of their character. Breathe in slowly, my dear, and let these words wrap around you.